Hi, I'm so excited to speak to Renata Simrel today, who is the president and CEO of the LA84 Foundation, which helps provide sports access to kids across Los Angeles and who we're partnering with for Angel City. So I'm so excited. Thank you so much for joining. Maybe you can start by introducing what LA84 does.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, and thanks for bringing a professional women's soccer team to Los Angeles. We're super excited, just about the future and certainly about our partnership. So it's awesome. The L84 Foundation is the legacy of the '84 Summer Olympic Games that were held in Los Angeles. And as a result of that game, there was a surplus, and 40% of that surplus came to start the foundation. And the work has been for the last 36 years is ensuring that all kids have access to sport and structured play opportunities. And so we do our work primarily in poor, underserved, under-resourced communities of color. And we do direct grants to community-based, school-based organizations. We also do coaching education, and then we also help with infrastructure development, so building soccer pitches, futsal fields, baseball fields in partnership with the Dodgers, and some other of the sports teams around Los Angeles. And it's all about leveling the playing field so that all kids have access.
It's so cool and so exciting and so happy that we have this in our city. What keeps kids from being involved in sports and girls in particular?
Yeah, just across the board, it's economics. I'd say is a big issue. Is the gap between those who can afford sport and structured play, and quite frankly, enrichment programs like music and dance and art. It's a barbell. Those kids who comes from families of wealth and affluence have the ability to spend more, and the communities in which we serve just don't. There's other aspects of the higher crime areas and safe passage to parks, sort of gang activity. And then on the girls' side, it's those things plus puberty. We find that girls' sports participation drops at around puberty, around 12 or 13. Male coaches in high school, it's not uncommon for professional athletes to have gone through their entire life and not ever been coached by a female. And so the ability for a 12 or 13-year-old to talk about their body changing is a tough thing, and so they choose not to participate. In Los Angeles, there's a large Latino population, and then there's the family dynamics that prevent young girls from participating in sport. The families thinking that they should be more responsible for family issues or focused on their schoolwork, and they don't see or aware of the connection between sport and engagement in school, and that athletes do better academically. So those are some of the reasons why we see youth participation dropping in sport.
And that's so cool that you say that youth participation in athletics positively affects education. What are the other kind of long-term effects that you see from youth athletic participation?
Life skills, leadership, knowing how to work in a team, finding your voice, dealing with failure. I think, that's a big, aspect. I think it's the life skills that you get from sports that are so critical. I'm one of those kids. My mom was a grocery clerk, my dad was a butcher, and if it wasn't for sports, I was a shy, the scrawny kid that just felt awkward growing up. And sports really helped me develop my team, my tribe, that I felt that I could accomplish anything because I had that support network. And so we see sport, not as I like to say not as a nice to have, but it's really an indispensable tool for youth development and for kids to find their pathway to lifelong well-being.
And how has the pandemic affected your work and your outreach?
We created a play equipment distribution program where we work with LAUSD, Pasadena Unified School District, the Catholic schools, and some grantees to get play equipment directly in the hands of kids. So think bats and balls and jump ropes and other things that they can do in a small environment. And then we augmented that with some of our athlete friends to create videos to show the kids what they can do at home to stay active.
That's really incredible and so necessary. I mean, I see with my own kids how necessary it is to have some sort of physical activity, not to mention games, play. How does having a professional women's sports team affect young people in the community?
It's what you and the ownership group are doing is just so extraordinary. We don't see enough female role models in sport. I think when you think of, Serena and Venus Williams and just how many young kids they've inspired to take up the game of tennis. When you think about Alex Morgan and, just the badass that she is and being able to inspire young girls, to accomplish, and you can go on, Megan Rapinoe, Abby Wambach. That is so critical to being able to see ourselves, on the field and having great successes. And I think that even go to Natalie, even the ownership group that you guys have put together, being intentional about it being female, having Julie, be the president and CEO. And I think the opportunities to give access and expose young girls, to those individuals, it helps to inspire them of what's possible.
What is the Play Equity Fund that you've created, and what's the difference between the work that the Play Equity Fund does and larger LA84?
Yeah, no, sure. Thanks for that question. If I can, I'll use an analogy is, I share with folks is that the work that LA84 Foundation has been doing for 36 years is like pulling kids out of the river that are headed toward a waterfall. And over the last 36 years, we've, helped to impact the lives of over 3.5 million kids. But the kids keep coming into the waterfall, and the community that we brought together to help to save those kids has just gotten much more than we can handle. And so the Play Equity Fund was established to really do what I like to say, go upstream and find out why the kids are in the water in the first place. And so there's a system changes about public resources in our K through 12 education system. In the state of California, we're 47th in per pupil spending, 47th in per pupil spending. We spend more on our prison population than we do on our, educating our kids. Our after school time has been taken away. So enrichment programs like music, dance, art, and even sports have been taken out of public schools. And when I went through middle school, I played basketball. Those opportunities don't exist in school, and they're very limited in an after school context. And so the Play Equity Fund is really about educating and bringing education and awareness to the public about the inequities that exist in the communities that we serve, sort of that play equity gap. Mm-hmm. And then working to create partnerships, like the partnership we have with Angel City to use the platform, the platform and the influence of professional teams and athletes to bring awareness and to bring some, advocacy might. As an example, the state of California was looking to cut $100 million out of their after-school programs that would have meant less kids being served. And, we helped to support the California 3 After-School Alliance to save that $100 million, but it's a constant battle. So we, are looking to do that type of work through the Play Equity Fund.
That is really, really exciting. So if people want to get engaged, involved, be part of the organizations that you support, what's the best way?
Oh, be part of our Play Equity movement. I love it. Playequityfund.org. Just shoot us an email, and we'd love to get more people engaged and help us support changing communities one kid at a time.